The city of Atlanta has always lived on the edge of fame and fire, a place where success glitters under studio lights and secrets whisper through penthouses and recording booths. But last night, that delicate balance shattered. One grainy clip, no timestamp, no caption, no context, hit social media and changed everything. The video was short, barely 30 seconds long, but it was enough. Two silhouettes in low light, a woman's laugh, a man's familiar voice. And within minutes, the internet was ablaze. People swore they recognized the faces. Tiny Harris, wife of hip-hop icon T.I., and a man whose tone and mannerisms echoed none other than Kanye West. Whether it was real, fake, or something in between didn't matter. The spark had been lit, and Atlanta was about to burn. As the clip spread, hashtags erupted like wildfire. Hashtag Tiny Tape, hashtag Kanye Connection, hashtag Atlanta Secrets. Every timeline became a battlefield of theories and memes. Influencers went live mid-scroll, bloggers scrambled to upload emergency videos, and gossip accounts counted views like they were stock prices. By sunrise, the entire city was talking. Phones buzzed in salons and barbershops, studios paused recording sessions to replay the footage frame by frame. And everyone, from Uber drivers to record label execs, claimed to know what really happened. In a city addicted to rumor, the truth didn't stand a chance. Silence became the loudest sound. Inside Tiny's mansion, the air felt tight and heavy. Curtains drawn, lights dimmed, the walls seemed to lean in as if listening. Her phone buzzed nonstop. Messages from friends, family, journalists, all demanding the same thing, an answer. Her assistant, voice trembling, finally asked, "Do you want me to shut off your socials?" Tiny didn't look up. "You can't shut off the internet," she murmured. Her voice carried the weight of someone who had lived long enough to know that once the world decides your story, you no longer own it. On the muted television across the room, commentators speculated with feigned concern and real excitement. Some claimed the leak was part of a publicity stunt for a new project. Others said it was revenge, betrayal, or sabotage. Tiny almost laughed at that. Almost. Across town, another woman watched the chaos unfold with shaking hands. Shakina Anderson, Tiny's former friend and one-time confidant, sat alone in her apartment, the glow of her phone reflecting in her eyes. Weeks earlier, she had gone live on Instagram, hinting that Tiny wasn't as innocent as she looked. She never imagined her words would spark this inferno. Now her notifications were an endless scroll of hate and praise, half the internet calling her brave, the other half calling her a sneak. "I didn't leak it," she whispered to herself. "I didn't." But the internet doesn't wait for truth. It crowns villains before facts ever arrive. While Shakina wrestled with guilt, the online machinery roared to life. Commentators, podcasters, and self-proclaimed experts began dissecting every pixel, every muffled sound. Some claimed to hear Kanye's voice. Others insisted it was an impersonator. A few even said the clip was AI-generated, part of a larger conspiracy to destroy reputations. But speculation sells better than certainty, and confusion is the internet's favorite currency. By mid-morning, drones hovered over Tiny's gated home. Local reporters stood outside her driveway, microphones trembling with anticipation. The Harris household remains silent as the world demands answers. Is this real? Is it fake? And who stands to gain? Cars slowed outside her mansion, fans trying to catch a glimpse of the woman behind the curtains, the one whose name was burning across every trending list in America. Inside, Tiny sat on her couch scrolling through old memories, family photos, concert clips, smiling snapshots from better days. Each one now carried new comments, fresh accusations, cruel emojis. She paused on an old picture of her and Shakina, arms around each other, laughing like sisters. "You said you loved me," she whispered to the screen. A tear slid down her cheek, but she wiped it away quickly. Weakness wasn't an option. Her publicist called again. "We need a response, a statement, a video, something. The silence looks like guilt." Tiny exhaled slowly. "If I speak, they'll twist it. If I stay quiet, they'll destroy me anyway." The line went silent. Finally, her publicist replied, "Then we fight back," carefully. But just as Tiny tried to gather herself, another notification hit. The same anonymous account that posted the first clip, a shadowy profile called @TruthInAtlanta, had resurfaced. The new post read simply, "If you thought the footage is wild, wait till you hear the audio." Within seconds, screenshots spread across Twitter, TikTok, Reddit. The promise of audio was more than enough to reignite the fire. Tiny's team saw it immediately. Her lawyer called her phone in a panic. "We're dealing with criminals. This is targeted defamation." But Tiny barely heard him. She was staring at her reflection in the dark tablet screen, trying to recognize the woman she used to be, the one who controlled her story instead of being swallowed by it. Hours later, the audio dropped. 30 seconds long, that was it. But in a world addicted to scandal, 30 seconds was plenty. The clip began with soft laughter, a woman's voice, low and familiar. Then a man's deep tone whispered something about keeping things quiet. Static blurred the rest, but the damage was done. The internet filled in the blanks. Hashtags erupted again. Conspiracy videos popped up within minutes, slowing the sound, reversing it, claiming to uncover secret messages. Tiny's name trended worldwide before dawn. Inside her house, Tiny sat frozen, eyes locked on her phone. "That's not me," she whispered. "That's not my voice." Her assistant hovered nearby, terrified. "Should I delete it?" she asked. Tiny didn't answer. The silence stretched like smoke. Across town, Shakina listened to the same audio, her chest tightening. She knew Tiny's voice better than anyone. She'd heard it laugh, cry, scream. This clip sounded close, but not quite. "AI," she muttered. "Somebody used AI." But that explanation wasn't exciting enough for the internet. It didn't trend. It didn't satisfy the hunger for outrage. Moments later, Shakina's phone buzzed with an unknown number. She hesitated before answering. The voice on the other end was male, distorted, mechanical. "You wanted truth? Now everyone has it." Then, the line went dead. She ran to the window, scanning the quiet street below. Nothing. Just the hum of city lights and the faint echo of sirens. Fear seeped in slowly, wrapping around her like smoke. Whatever this was, it had spiraled far beyond her control. By morning, chaos ruled. Radio hosts replayed the clip like a new single. Podcasters argued over motives. Some called it the biggest betrayal in celebrity history, others called it digital warfare. Even old interviews resurfaced, innocent moments twisted into supposed evidence of secret meetings and coded gestures. One YouTube channel posted a timeline of every rumored connection between Tiny and Kanye, complete with dramatic background music and bold red circles highlighting random screenshots. None of it was verified. But verification wasn't the goal. Outrage was. Inside her mansion, her husband paced the floor, jaw tight. "You know how bad this looks," he said quietly. "You think I believe that mess?" She looked up, eyes red. "I don't even know anymore. Everything I say, they twist." He sighed, running a hand over his face. "Then stop letting them control the story. Say something." But she couldn't. Every word felt like a trap, every silence like surrender. Her lawyer arrived soon after, dropping a folder on the table. "We traced the account, the IPs are masked, but the uploads are coordinated. Multiple locations, timed perfectly. It's orchestrated." Tiny's hands trembled. "So this isn't random?" He shook his head. "No, someone's doing this deliberately." Across town, Shakina went live again, exhausted but desperate. "I didn't leak anything," she said, voice cracking. "Whoever's behind this is trying to destroy both of us." The comments flooded in instantly, some supportive, others venomous. "You're lying. This your karma. You wanted attention, now you got it." Over 100,000 people watched as she stared into the camera, eyes wet but defiant. "If something happens to me, just know I tried to tell the truth." Then she ended the stream. An hour later, At Truth in Atlanta posted again. The message was short but chilling. "You've heard the voices. Next, you'll see the faces." Within minutes, conspiracy threads exploded. People set alarms, waiting for the next drop like it was a season finale. Some claimed the government was involved. Others said it was a PR stunt gone wrong. Reality and fiction blended until nobody could tell them apart. By nightfall, the city buzzed with anticipation. Paparazzi lined the block outside Tiny's gate. A few fans shouted her name, phones raised high. Inside, she poured herself a drink and stared out the window. Every flash of a camera felt like a lightning strike. If I run, she told her manager, they'll think I'm guilty. So she stayed, sitting in the dim glow of her living room, watching her own downfall unfold in real time. Somewhere else in the city, a man sat in front of a glowing computer screen, folders open, names labeled, dates logged. His cursor hovered over a file titled Part 3. He smiled, clicked Upload, and leaned back as the progress bar filled. Across town, Shakina's phone buzzed again. A new message. Stop talking. You're next. Her breath caught. She dropped the phone, heart racing. Was it a threat? A prank? She didn't know anymore, but she understood one thing. This was never about truth. It was about control. Someone was pulling strings, turning their lives into a puppet show, and the world was cheering. At sunrise, the third leak went live. No caption, no teaser, just a blurred thumbnail, two figures sitting close together. Within minutes, hundreds of thousands hit play. 2.5 minutes of dim light, muffled voices, and soft background music. And this time, there were faces. The internet stopped breathing. Every whisper, every glance, every reflection was dissected like evidence in a courtroom. That's definitely Tiny. No way, that's fake. Pause at 1:14, look at the reflection. The video looped endlessly, feeding the cycle of obsession. Inside her home, Tiny's phone exploded with calls. Her mother in tears, her husband's voice messages short and furious. Reporters shouted questions through her gates. Her team begged her to leave town. She refused. If I run, she repeated softly, they'll think I'm guilty. Instead, she poured another drink, sat by the window, and watched the world burn her name pixel by pixel. Shakina, meanwhile, was unraveling. She watched the clip on mute, her hands shaking. The faces looked real, but she knew they couldn't be. Deepfake, she whispered. Somebody made this. But the internet didn't care. The narrative had taken on a life of its own, and she was trapped inside it. By midday, so-called digital experts were uploading analysis videos claiming to have verified Kanye's voice. Their credentials? Non-existent. Their views? Millions. Truth had become entertainment. Lies had become profit. Tiny's lawyer called with a shred of hope. We found something, he said. The metadata. It's been altered. The timestamps were changed to make it look older. This is coordinated. Tiny nodded weakly. So what? You think they care about metadata? The lawyer paused. No, he admitted, but a judge might. Tiny hung up. The internet didn't believe in judges. It believed in emotions, in outrage, in spectacle. Evidence couldn't trend. As night fell again, Shakina's fear turned to paranoia. Every knock on the door made her flinch. Every shadow in the hallway felt like a warning. Just after midnight, another message appeared from the same number. You started it. Now you'll end it. Her hand shook so violently she dropped the phone. Somewhere across the city, Tiny's husband went live on Instagram, anger written across his face. I know my wife. I know lies when I see them. Y'all spreading poison for clicks. Tens of thousands watched. Supporters flooded the comments, but so did the skeptics. He's covering for her. He knows it's true. Within minutes, his live became another headline. T.I. breaks silence in an emotional rant. The story just kept feeding itself. By the next morning, Atlanta felt like a city under siege. Every radio station, every podcast, every gossip channel was dissecting the scandal. Then one final post appeared from @TruthInAtlanta. The truth always starts with one lie. Tomorrow, the name behind it all. The internet went wild. Suspects were named, theories erupted, fingers pointed at rival artists, jealous friends, and record labels. Tiny's team scrambled, terrified of what might come next. They're not going to stop, her publicist said. They're enjoying this. Tiny's voice was barely a whisper. They don't want truth. They want blood. Shakina packed a small bag. She didn't know where she was going, only that she needed to disappear. As she reached the door, her phone rang one last time. The same distorted voice spoke, calm and final. You started it.
Now you'll end it." The line went dead. She sank to the floor, trembling, realizing the game was much bigger than her, much bigger than Tiny. The story had devoured them both. When the sun rose again, Adlema was still talking. Every post, every podcast, every exclusive claimed to hold the truth. But the truth had become irrelevant. The story had taken on a life of its own. It wasn't about what happened anymore. It was about who controlled the narrative. Was Tiny Harris the victim of the most calculated setup Atlanta has ever seen? Or did she get caught in a web of secrets that finally snapped? Is Shekinah a truth teller, or just another pawn in someone else's game? And who is the mysterious @Truth in Atlanta, dropping bombs one by one, as if orchestrating the city's downfall from the shadows? The evidence is shaky. The internet's divided, and every new leak blurs the line between reality and fabrication. But one thing's for sure, someone out there knows exactly what they're doing. However, according to whispers making their rounds on social media, T.I. was allegedly spotted getting a little too comfortable with a Popeyes employee. Now, I know that sounds wild, but people are saying he wasn't just there for the spicy chicken sandwich. Word is he might have left with more than a meal. Sources close to the situation claim that T.I. and the woman have been chilling, and that she's been proudly telling folks that she's not with him for the money or the fame. She says she genuinely likes him for who he is, which is bold considering who he's married to. Because Tiny Harris isn't just any wife. She's been with T.I. for decades of ups and downs, prison time, public scandals, and everything in between. When Tiny allegedly found out about this new fried chicken fling, the story goes that she didn't sit back quietly. Nope, she reportedly went straight to the restaurant and confronted the woman face to face. Sources say Tiny told her to stay away from her husband and to stop running her mouth like a gas guzzler that always wants more. And honestly, that sounds exactly like something Tiny would say. Sweet, but sharp enough to cut.
But before we get too deep into this Popeyes mess, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Because this isn't the first time we've been here with T.I. and Tiny. If you followed them for any length of time, then you know their marriage has been anything but peaceful. From public scandals to rumors of infidelity to full-blown fights caught on camera, their relationship has had more plot twists than a soap opera. It's been a cycle of love, betrayal, forgiveness, and repeat. The first major public crack started showing after T.I.'s prison stint back in 2014. That's when rumors began to swirl that Tiny was getting a little too close to boxing champion Floyd Mayweather. Now, Tiny denied the rumors. She said nothing inappropriate happened. But Floyd made things worse when he commented publicly, saying, "I've been knowing Tiny before T.I. I never slept with her, never kissed her, never touched her in any inappropriate way." But y'all know how this goes. Once the internet hears something juicy, it spreads like wildfire. Eventually, things got so heated that T.I. reportedly confronted Floyd Mayweather at a restaurant in Las Vegas. And according to Hollywood Unlocked's Jason Lee, Tiny supposedly told people afterward that Mayweather gave T.I. 2 black eyes during the altercation, and that he even had to wear makeup to cover up the bruises. Floyd later apologized to Tiny for the whole thing, saying she was cool people and that he shouldn't have disrespected her. But by then, the damage had been done. The public humiliation was already out there for everyone to see, and it only added more tension to a marriage already struggling under the weight of fame and ego. Then came 2017, the year things really hit the fan. That's when the rumor started flying that T.I. had been cheating on Tiny with Instagram model Bernice Burgos. Tiny had reportedly caught him flirting online, liking pictures, and sliding into DMs, and she wasn't having it. She filed for divorce, and T.I. fired back with his own countersuit just to make sure he was the one in control of the narrative. For a while, it seemed like that was the end of T.I. and Tiny. Bernice later came out and tried to clear her name, saying she had no romantic relationship with T.I. and that everything was just business, something to do with the movie. But when Tiny threw a little shade online, calling her a pass-around, Bernice clapped back hard, saying she'd mess with RuPaul before any of those ugly-ass escape girls. The whole thing became a circus. Fans picked sides, the blogs had a field day, and once again, T.I. and Tiny's marriage was front-page gossip.
even with all that drama, the two somehow found their way back to each other. Tiny later admitted that social media made it almost impossible for them to heal privately because every move they made was under a microscope. But the truth is, even when they tried to move past it, the trust was already shattered. And yet, they kept coming back, like two magnets that can't quite let go no matter how many times they crash into each other. Just when people thought the Bernie Spergos saga had finally died down, another name got thrown into the mix, and this time, it was none other than Master P. Rumors started circulating that Tiny had grown close to Master P, and that he had been quietly supporting her financially during one of her rough patches with T.I. Some even claimed that he'd bought her gifts, a new house, and was helping her with her business ventures, including her mixed-gender basketball league team. Now, of course, Master P wasted no time shutting that rumor down. He went live on Instagram and said, "Social media is a gift and a curse. Let's kill this rumor right now. No, I'm not dating Tiny. We're doing business. She owns a team, I own a team. People must be bored to believe this nonsense." Despite his statement, the speculation didn't die immediately because honestly, people are always going to believe what fits the story they want to tell. But somehow, through all of that, T.I. and Tiny reconciled once again. In fact, after their divorce filing was dismissed because T.I. was never officially served, he decided to make a grand gesture. He bought Tiny a brand new Mercedes S550 worth over $225,000 for her birthday, calling it a token of appreciation for her loyalty and strength through everything they'd been through. And for a little while, things seemed good. They were showing up together again, smiling for photos, acting like the past was behind them. But in true Harris family fashion, the peace didn't last. Not even a full year later, another video surfaced, this time showing T.I. backstage at one of his concerts in Indianapolis, getting a little too friendly with actress and singer Asia Epperson. The video showed him smacking her on the butt and appearing to kiss her neck. Of course, it went viral instantly, and the backlash was brutal.
Asia came out afterward and said, "Let me be clear. The accusations that I'm a homewrecker or a side chick are 100% false." She admitted that T.I. shouldn't have done what he did and that it caught her off guard, but she maintained that there was nothing more to it than that one moment. She said it was wrong place, wrong time, and that she was confused by how harshly people were judging her. The fallout was intense. Tiny and T.I. reportedly separated for a few weeks, and both of them posted cryptic messages on social media that made it clear they were not in a good place. But yet again, somehow, some way, they found their way back. They were later seen out as a family, putting on a united front, trying to convince the world that love conquers all. But after so many public humiliations, people were starting to question what love even meant in that marriage. And now, in the latest episode of As the Harris Household Turns, we've got the Popeye situation, which feels like something straight out of a TV show. Unlike the other women who denied being involved with T.I., this Popeye's employee isn't hiding or denying anything. She's allegedly standing 10 toes down in her truth, saying she's not walking away from him. She says she doesn't want his money, his fame, or even the attention. She wants him for him. If that's true, that's a bold stance for someone who knows how public T.I.'s marriage is. Because if there's one thing Tiny has proven over the years, it's that she will fight for her man, literally. And according to insiders, that's exactly what she did. When the story started spreading, Tiny allegedly drove herself to that Popeyes and confronted the woman right there. And instead of backing down, the woman allegedly stood her ground and told Tiny she wasn't going anywhere. Meanwhile, T.I. supposedly told Tiny to handle it however she wanted, which honestly sounds like he's either tired, indifferent, or just confident she won't leave. Either way, it's a bad look. Fans have started speculating that maybe the two have an open marriage or some kind of unspoken arrangement, because how else could someone go through this many scandals and still stay married? Even their son, King Harris, is reportedly uncomfortable with his dad's behavior. He hasn't said anything publicly, but people close to the family claim there's real tension behind the scenes. At this point, watching T.I. and Tiny's marriage play out is like watching a never-ending series where you already know the plot, but can't stop tuning in. Every few years, a new woman, a new rumor, a new headline. They fight, they separate, they make up, and then it happens all over again. Their marriage has survived public embarrassment, legal battles, and countless cheating allegations, and somehow they always seem to end up back together. Maybe it's love, maybe it's habit, maybe it's the kids, or maybe it's just that some couples thrive on the chaos. Whatever it is, fans have stopped expecting peace from the Harris household. At this point, drama seems to be the language they both understand best. Still, for those who've watched Tiny for years, you can't help but admire her strength. She's been loyal, she's been patient, and she's been forgiving, maybe too forgiving. But even the strongest woman has a breaking point, and people are starting to wonder if this Popeye scandal might finally be the one that pushes her there. Because while the woman involved seems to have no shame about her alleged involvement, Tiny is the one who always ends up cleaning up the mess. And after 2 decades of standing by T.I.'s side, maybe, just maybe, she's finally tired of fighting the same battle. So that's where things stand right now. Another scandal, another round of public embarrassment, another test for the Harris marriage. T.I. hasn't said a word publicly about the Popeyes rumors, and Tiny hasn't issued any statements either. But if history has taught us anything, it's that silence in this family usually means the storm is still brewing. The big question is, how many more times can Tiny forgive? How many more times can T.I. promise to do better, only to end up back in the headlines for the same thing? Fans are divided. Some say Tiny knows exactly who she married, while others say she deserves better and should have walked away a long time ago. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Who do you think is pulling the strings? Do you believe the footage is real, or just another deepfake designed to destroy reputations? Smash that like button if you think the truth hasn't come out yet, and hit subscribe, because this story isn't over. The next leak could drop any second. And when it does, we'll be right here to break it down first. Because in this city, secrets don't stay buried. They rise. Louder, darker. Every single time. And if Atlanta has taught us anything, it's this. The truth doesn't whisper. It explodes.